Metroidvanias have always held a very special place in my heart. From the very first time I had experienced games such as Super Metroid or later on Cave Story, I just knew I was going to fall in love with the designs and worlds that the genre had to offer. The sense of character progression, the interconnected nature of the game world, the enemy designs, the music, just everything about these 2D landscapes felt so realized, so refreshing. Luckily for me, the indie game space has always had a great appreciation for Metroidvanias. One of them in particular, one that came out at a time when the genre wasn't necessarily gaining many new fans, but was still at the forefront of the minds for those who appreciated them. On November 18th, 2014, Team Cherry released the very first trailer for a fresh, new entry into the genre. This first peek at Hollow Knight left many in awe of the fresh visual style and unique mix of combat and platforming. The game that we received on February 24th, 2017 was instantly deemed a masterpiece among hardcore players and casuals alike. I'm here, all these years later, and it is safe to say that they were absolutely correct. Hollow Knight is a 2D side-scrolling action-adventure game with light RPG elements, aka a Metroidvania. Not all Vanias are going to be 2D, with the exception of things like Dark Souls, which stems into Souls-like games, but it's very obvious that DS takes heavy inspiration from a lot of Metroidvanias that came before it. In Hollow Knight, you take up the role of the Knight, our small little masked fellow with his sword that is called a nail. When the game first begins, you don't quite know why or how our little masked fellow stumbled upon this adventure, but throughout your journey you will come to unravel that mystery. The game's lore unfolds through dialogue with NPCs and interacting with various tablets throughout the world. The environmental storytelling is also quite excellent here, with little details speckled through the backgrounds and foregrounds of many of the landscapes you will trek across. The introductory period of this game is just downright special. Getting to hear the soundtrack to the Forgotten Crossroads for the very first time delivers such a euphoric experience. The entire soundscape when you enter the kingdom of Hollow Nest just washes over you and provides a feeling of a land suspended in time, long forgotten to the rest of the world, but still holding on to serve the very few that remain. It's moments like transitioning from the Forgotten Crossroads into Green Path that remind me why exploring and making new discoveries is just so damn satisfying. The visual stimulation of this art in motion is reward enough for my travels, but there's more to it than just that. Our tiny knight begins his journey with nothing in his inventory except for his nail. In typical Vania fashion, throughout the course of the game, you will gain new abilities and items. These abilities and trinkets allow you to access paths that were once inaccessible. Exploration is at the very heart of Hollow Knight's gameplay loop. The more you explore and fight other bugs, the more you will begin to discover hidden pathways and important goodies to further your adventure. The atmosphere paired with this loop of constantly being on the lookout for new and exciting tools is so addicting. I found myself going around smacking every wall and every ceiling just to find a hidden entrance that would lead me down yet another rabbit hole to get lost in. Sometimes having these paths guide me into a completely new area that I did not expect in the slightest. The interconnected nature of the game's world is spectacular. Truly a masterclass in world design when you really step back and look at what was created here. When navigating it for the very first time, it feels like a carefully constructed maze of controlled chaos. Every trail has a purpose of some sort, whether that be to get you to where you need to be or simply get you something that you require. You may walk into a room somewhere and think it has no purpose at all, but will later find out that it plays a major or minor role in your adventure. All the way from Crystal Peak to the ancient basin, this world is one. It never feels segmented or cut up into pieces. But what good is a world without inhabitants, right? Well, Hallownest certainly has a plethora of both friends and foes, one in particular that goes by the name of Cornifer. Cornifer plays a key role in the land of Hallownest because he's a cartographer, a map maker. Cornifer and his wife Iselda, who runs the shop up top in Dirtmouth, will provide you with many maps and trinkets if you have enough currency to give them. This currency goes by the name of Geo. Upon entering a new area, you will most likely hear a jolly humming sound coming from somewhere and also see a little remnant of paper, which signifies that our friend Cornifer is nearby. It's a really wholesome feeling hearing Cornifer's humming after wading through the crazed insects that you fight along your journey. A nice moment of respite to gain some knowledge of the surrounding area. You can then take the maps you've gotten and explore even farther reaches of the new zones you've entered. Every time you sit down at a bench, your game will save, and you will see our little knight update the map with any new findings you stumble across. Aside from our cartographer friend, you will come across many characters with very endearing personalities. One thing to note about these characters is that they don't have traditional voice acting in the sense of speaking a language such as English. They all do a sort of humming or various odd sounds with their mouths. I actually really love this choice because it provides a very different but very great way of conveying characters' emotions. On a side note, if you guys are interested in having your game fully vocalized, you do have that option as a PC player with a mod called Hallownest Vocalized, a completely community-driven project that adds VA to pretty much every NPC in the game, alongside a narrator for lore tablets and such. I'll leave a link to that in the description if you're interested. Jumping over to the gameplay side of things, as I said previously, our knight is pretty bare bones coming into Hallownest. You have a basic attack and a jump. That's all. You can acquire some nail arts, which are special moves performed with your sword. These can only be unlocked by finding and speaking with a certain NPC. Do note that you can completely miss a lot of upgrades such as nail arts and still manage to beat the game, which is kinda wild to me. Over the course of the game, you will acquire these little charms that you can equip while sitting at a bench. Charms have various different effects, from summoning creatures to fight alongside you, or something a bit simpler like having more attack range. These charms definitely provide you with a variety of builds to play around with throughout your game, or for another playthrough to try something new. Each charm does require our knight to have the amount of charm notches available in order to equip them. More notches can be discovered while exploring, or can be purchased from a character named Salubra. Aside from charms, you are able to gain special abilities that consume soul, which is displayed in the soul meter in the top left of the screen. Soul is our mana of sorts here in Hollow Knight. You can also consume soul to heal the knight as well. Now, upon death, you will notice that your soul meter is broken. You will then have to return to your place of demise, and you will see a dark figure that looks kinda like our little knight. This little doppelganger is called a shade, which you have to attack to fix your soul meter and retrieve your lost geo. Do keep in mind that as you become stronger and gain more abilities, your shade will also have access to them as well, so don't underestimate them. You can increase your soul and health pool by seeking out certain items referred to as fragments. Vessel fragments come together when 3 separate pieces are discovered and increase your soul pool, indicated by a smaller circle on the left of your soul meter. You're able to gain 3 circles in total for that meter. Mask shards come together when you gather 4 pieces to increase your health by 1 full mask up to a max of 9 masks. Going along with health, you can gain these little blue temporary lifeblood masks if you stumble upon a site with blue butterflies and break the cocoon of sorts, alongside the little life seeds that come out of it. Now, how does it feel when you throw all of these little systems together? Well, it becomes one of the tightest, most precise controlling adventures in all of Metroidvanias. That simple hop allows you to maneuver a lot of wacky situations and boss fights. That basic attack is crucial to keeping a simple tempo in those encounters as well. Later on, you gain a dash, and that adds even more depth to a seemingly simple mechanic. Simple fights against the little bugs in the early hours feels simple and almost relaxing. By the time you're even halfway through the game, the tension in fights, both regular and boss encounters, feel different. They have more weight, and you have more fluidity. Even as you ramp up in skill set, the enemies do as well. The attack patterns of most of the later game bosses require you to really be on your toes at all times. It's this gradual evolution in gameplay throughout the journey that makes everything just so much more satisfying, so much more enjoyable. The more you play, the more you master the knight. You begin learning the more intricate mechanics such as nail hopping, which in certain cases can allow you to reach areas you wouldn't be able to otherwise without another special ability. All of these little things create really fun and truly intriguing moments throughout your time in Hollow Nest. You even have the option of filling up a bestiary provided to you from a mysterious cave-dwelling monster. The game on a surface level appears simple, but just like the Kingdom of Hollow Nest itself, the farther you delve, the more you begin to see how complex and wild things can really be. At this point, you can already see that the visuals of Hollow Knight are absolutely stellar. Second to none, if you ask me, but I'm biased, I suppose. These beautiful visuals come from the mind of the magnificent artist by the name of Ari Gibson. Now, this is actually our little knight's second appearance in the gaming space. His first being in a 72-hour game jam project called Hungry Night, which can still be played to this very day over on Newgrounds. This very short foray with our little knight was supposed to be a one-off design for a game jam, but the knight just really stuck with Ari for some time after that. In fact, a few of the character designs stem from this very project and can also be found in the game we have today. Hollow Knight also kind of being the product of a game jam, which the team had missed the deadline for but continued to work on the project. The theme this time seemed to fit their old friend Hungry Night very well, with the idea of a bug-infested kingdom approached by a mysterious protagonist. Our little knight took up the role as Hollow Knight, and the rest is really history. To my knowledge, a lot of the assets you see in the game were actually first created in RE's sketchbooks, later scanned over into Photoshop, polished up a little bit, and then animated inside of Photoshop. Absolutely madness. The other fantastic minds, William Pellin and David Kazi, took these animations and conjured up what we have today. I believe Mr. Pellin contributed some art as well, with Cornifer's design coming directly from him. Now, you may have noticed at this point that characters such as our knight or the hornet are wearing masks. I absolutely love this design choice. The masks kind of resemble strong-horned beetles. It's like their bug version of a proper ironclad helmet, you know? Even the choice of having them use something called a nail instead of a sword, it further solidifies the fact that you are really a tiny little bug in a very vast land. The UI design is also incredibly sleek and quite minimalistic. The soul meter has a bit of personality to it as well, with the eyes opening and closing depending on if you have enough soul to cast a spell. The masks themselves have a slight shimmer effect every couple seconds just to add a little visual flair. Even the actual menus are nice to navigate with the light sound effects that bless your ears with every click of a button. Speaking of sounds, not only are the light tapping sounds of the knight's footsteps soothing in a way, or the whooshing of his clothes when you dash swiftly, but the soundtrack itself is so splendid, with many tracks that have a calm, somber, serene nature, and an equal amount of heavy, chaotic, deeply melodic music. Christopher Larkin created some of the most enchanting tunes in all of gaming, not just indies, and he did it right here with Hollow Knight. I strongly encourage all of you to go and listen to the original OST, of course, but the piano collections is really a gem, so please give it a listen. From visuals to sound, Hollow Knight is punching so far above its weight, it's ridiculous. To think that this incredible little project blossomed into what it is today is nothing short of astounding. This thing that stemmed from the minds of a few dudes ended up becoming not only an instant classic, but simply indie excellence. This one was special to me, man. I have thought of making a video on Hollow Knight since the very moment I finished my first playthrough years ago, but it just wasn't the right time before. I know that now. Nothing in this world quite feels like this. Getting to just speak however long about whatever I love so much, it really fills my soul with an incredibly warm sensation. I find myself constantly chasing a feeling, whether that be with games, movies, dancing, whatever I may be into. In this specific case, video games. Hollow Knight's soundtrack alone has healed my soul in ways I simply can't explain. Even just opening the game and chilling in the hot springs makes me genuinely happy. Getting the chance to explore this world of hollowness time and time again never ceases to amaze me with how beautiful and fun it is. Even in the weirdest, craziest times, I remember always being able to just boot up Hollow Knight on my PC or my Switch, and I would be at peace. At least for a little bit. If you played the game, you already know the sanctuary that it provides, and if you haven't, I certainly hope after watching this video that you're going to. Thank you so much for watching. It really does mean a lot to me. Truly. I, just like many others, will now sink my teeth deep into the next chapter of Hollow Knight, that being Silksong. It's been a very long time since that initial teaser, and it's finally right around the corner. So let's get lost in another bug-filled kingdom, shall we? I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, night, or whatever the heck time it may be. And I'll catch you later. Peace, peace.